Allie Marie here with My Catholic Perspective. Today I am at Meg, hunter-Kilmer's book release launch party, Saints Around the World. I'm so excited to be with her. Meg is one of the first people that I got to know after I converted to Catholicism. She's a hobo for Christ, travels around, writes books in strangers' homes, and it is just amazing that she was able to get this book done. When I saw the event pop up, there was no way I was going to miss it because I'm just down in Kalamazoo. So we're here today. Meg, congratulations.
Thank you. I'm so glad you were able to be here. This, by the way, is not my baby. This is the illustrator's baby. So he's representing Lindsey Sanders, who illustrated this beautiful book. This is Max.
And we might even get Lindsey to pop on for just a little bit of the interview here in a little bit as well. So Meg, first and foremost, I mean, this book is just full of all different saints from all around the world, obviously, hence the title. And how did you, what started your affinity with the saints? You're always writing saint reflections and everything else. Like what?
You know, it was sort of a late thing for me in my Catholic experience. When I first came to know Jesus, I was kind of like, okay, well, saints aren't blasphemous, and that's enough for me. I didn't get it, because I kept hearing people say, well, when you can't go to Jesus, you can go to the saints. And I was like, you can never not go to Jesus. You can always go to Jesus, right? And so that was sort of baffling to me, and it took a long time before I heard a saint story told well, in a way that was really about Jesus. And all of a sudden I was like, oh my gosh, this isn't about you can't go to Jesus. This is, you need to hear what holiness looks like in your circumstances, right? With your broken family and in your culture and with your chronic illness or disability. You know, this is telling people God's glory shines through your struggles and your suffering. And it was just a huge thing for me. I've also always been a storyteller. And, you know, I would just sort of tell stories about myself, which can be fun, but finally realizing that God gave me this gift as a storyteller because there were stories he wanted told was huge for me. It was like, oh, this is what I was made for, you know? And so I've just been learning more and more about different saints, and the Lord has been speaking more and more to me about his just wild, unceasing love for every human being through the incredible diversity of the saints.
You say when you came to know Jesus, were you raised Catholic or did you convert to the faith?
I mean, you know, right, the way that people were in the 80s. I was raised Catholic. I was an atheist by the time I was 11. I had my conversion when I was 13. You know, I go pretty hard. So when I didn't love Jesus, I did not love Jesus. And then I had this conversion and I was like, everyone will be Catholic and I will hit them in the head with the Bible until they are, which is not ideal, but God can work with that, right? He can work with my extreme intensity, and he's mellowed me. This is me mellow, actually, which is shocking. Yeah, but it's, you know, he's just been so good to me.
Well, in story time here, you did share Saint Jerome, who
Yes.
was angry and remained angry always, as she depicts. Who is your favorite saint that you wrote about in this book?
So I have two best friends in the book.
Okay.
I have two best friends who are my saints, and so then obviously they got to be in my book. And so it's Blessed Peter Kibe and Saint Barnabas. So Blessed Peter Kibe is a 17th century Japanese Jesuit who traveled all the way from Japan to Rome and then back again, including 3,700 miles on foot.
Nobody would help him get to Japan. He was chased by pirates. He was shipwrecked on a boat he built himself. He didn't quit. Finally, Father Kibe got to Japan. It had taken him 8 years to get there from Europe. It had taken him 24 years from when he first asked to be a Jesuit priest until he finally arrived back home, a Jesuit priest. All the while, he knew he was on his way to torture and certain death, but he never gave up.
So he's wonderful for perseverance. He's also really good at destroying my pity parties. I really love a good pity party, and Kibe's up there like, child, please, it is half a flight of steps. I walked 3,700 miles. So he's a good, like, kick in the pants kind of a friend. Saint Barnabas is from the book of Acts in the Bible, Saint Paul's best friend, and I am just very much Saint Paul. And so Barnabas loved Paul, and Barnabas loves me, and it's sort of beautiful because it's kind of one of those relationships that's really just rooted in love. You know, I don't find his story like extra inspiring. I don't really tell people about him very often. I just am so utterly convicted that he loves me. And it really, you know, I was sort of fond of him for a little while, and then it was his feast day 3 years ago, and I was praying, and I was just floored with the sense of how desperately Saint Barnabas loves me, and I was weeping in a chapel. I have never felt that loved by anyone in my life except for God himself. And so just that like glimpse of the way that the saints feel about us, especially the ones to whom we're particularly dear, I think really inspired me to keep telling these stories, because I see those flashes in people's eyes. I see the connections formed, and sometimes it's totally illogical, right? My niece Mary Claire loves Blessed Marie Clementine Honorita Negapeta, who's a Congolese sister whose story is in this book, and she just saw her picture and she adores her. And we found out that Marie Clementine's feast day is Mary Claire's baptismal anniversary. And so I went to tell Mary Claire that. Now Mary Claire has a twin sister, so they were baptized on the same day. And I said to her, Mary Claire, do you know whose feast day is on your baptismal anniversary? And she's like reading a book, she looks up and she said, oh, who? And I said, Blessed Marie Clementine. And she gasped. And she put her hands to her face, and then she held her chest with tears in her eyes. And her twin sister, whose baptismal anniversary is the same day, said, Mary Claire, he loved you so much. He loved you so much, Mary Claire. And just seeing the depth of the love of this relationship that is rooted purely in the fact that they love each other. You know, like some of these saints you're gonna love because they've got great stories, or because the picture is so cool, or because they remind you of someone you know, or remind you of yourself. Some of them you're just gonna love. And it's because they're real people who really love you in heaven. You know, it's a two-sided relationship. And it's really exciting to me to get to make those connections for people.
Is Saint Barnabas, that's not the same, no, was it Barnabas that was released?
Yes, no, Barnabas is different. So Barnabas means son of encouragement.
Okay.
Barabbas means son of the father, so there's that irony in this false son of the father takes the place of the true son of the father, who ought to be released. But no, Barnabas is a different guy.
Barnabas is a different guy. Good to know.
Yeah.
It's like, well, God can really save anybody, so
Man,
I wasn't
he sure
going to
can.
doubt that
He
it
sure
could be
can.
the same person.
It's true.
But well, as you know, as I shared with you, my youngest daughter, her middle name's Veronica, because of a reflection that Meg shared on St. Veronica about intentions being everything, that, you know, when St. Veronica wiped Jesus' face, maybe she pushed the thorn deeper into Christ's head, and like, you're here. I should just let you share that reflection. But the pieces that stuck with me, and so I wanted Juliet's first name to be Veronica. So obviously I grabbed this and I was like, oh, is Saint Veronica in here? And so I was looking for that. But I just love how you've incorporated so many different like saints that and blesseds. So there are a lot of different things. What are the stickers that you were handing out with the book?
Yes. So we have this book that's mostly saints, but probably 40 or 45 blesseds, because I love sort of the random ones. And we knew that after the book was published, we would have blesseds who were being canonized, and so the book would be out of date. What we didn't realize is the book would be out of date before it even went to print, because Saint Margaret of Castello, who has been a blessed for hundreds and hundreds of years, was suddenly canonized, which is so wonderful, but it meant that the book wasn't up to date even the minute it was released. And so we decided that Lindsey made up some stickers so that when somebody is canonized, you can get the family together, you can grab the sticker and say, okay, this person is a saint now. That's so exciting. They're offered to the whole church for us all to reverence them and to have a relationship with them. And you can take the sticker, which, you know, she made in like coordinating colors so it still looks pretty, and you can put saint over blessed, and it's sort of a way to rejoice in the canonization, and for me then not to feel just frustrated that people are getting canonized, because that was my first instinct when Margaret of Castello's canonization was announced.
What?
I know, I was like, come on, Pope Francis, and I was like, oh, I mean awesome. I actually love that. I do. I just need a minute.
So is there an email list that people can sign up for to like get notified when certain people in your book are canonized?
So probably if you follow me on social media, so you can Google Hobo for Christ and you'll find me, and you can follow me on social media, or if you on Instagram saints.aroundtheworld, we'll definitely be keeping people updated there. I mean, it shouldn't happen very often that people are getting canonized from the book, because, you know, typically we don't have more than 10 or 12 canonizations in a year, usually even fewer than that. So odds that they're the ones from this book are fairly low. But it will be happening, and I will make a lot of noise every time somebody gets canonized, because I'll be excited.
Well, I'm going to say, though, too, I mean, reflecting on this book, reflecting on all the work that Meg has done on this, like, she's gonna be the patron saint of patron saints.
Oh, that'd be so
guys.
fun.
Like, so what she's doing with this book is, with all of the blesseds in here, she is bringing awareness to those people who are waiting for one more miracle to be canonized. And so, by the grace of God, those blesseds are now here. Their names are going to be known. People are
Yes.
going to start asking them to pray for them. And you might be surprised, you know?
I would be
Maybe
so
it'll be
excited.
within a decade. All of them will be. Yeah,
Yes.
you guys will have to mail out more stickers.
That's true. That's true. We'll have to get a new book going, right?
There you
I've
go.
already got an Excel spreadsheet with saints around the world too, but we're going to need a lot of beatifications to make that happen because we sort of emptied out the map in some parts. So you'll see in the book, the guiding document was this map. We wanted really to show the universality of Catholicism throughout the world. And so you see, you know, we've got all around South America, and we've got Iceland, and we've got Africa all covered. We've got people over here in Oceania and in Asia. We're going to need some more beatifications to sort of fill in the spots where we've already told you about all of the blesseds and saints who are from there already. So I'll be talking to Pope Francis about getting some more in southern Africa, getting some more in the Pacific Islands, you know, maybe drop him a little note.
There we go. Now you're talking. You did mention that you have a book, another book you're working on that's going to be coming out in October.
I
so
do.
Can you tell us a little bit about that? You said it's not with Emmaus Road Publishing. It's a new publisher.
It's with Ave Maria Press, and so that's called Pray For Us, 75 saints who sinned, struggled, and suffered on their way to holiness. This one is servants of God, venerables, blesseds, and saints. And so it'll be people who have not yet been raised to the altars, who we don't yet declare to have been in heaven. But I think the more we get to know those people in the earlier stages, the more we get excited as we see these causes progress. You know, I've seen this with Blessed Carlo Acutis. People knew him as a venerable, and so they were thrilled about his beatification in a way that really I haven't seen except with JP2 and Mother Teresa. And so that also is going to be more than half saints who are Black, Indigenous, or people of color, saints from various different places throughout the world. It wasn't driven by a map, so it's not quite as spread out, but also people with different disabilities, people who are divorced. We really want to show the extent to which God can work through the circumstances of our lives. And I think that we've managed that with this book. The other one is an adult book, so it isn't, unfortunately, illustrated by Lindsey Sanders. I've had a lot of people who are pretty upset about that, but I'm working on another book with her, so we'll hope that gets done too.
So this is Lindsey Sanders, the illustrator of this book that I'm so excited was here today. We're surprising each other. And so, Lindsey, we got to talking a little bit earlier, and you were mentioning how, some of the saints had pictures that you could kind of draw from, you could draw their inspiration. Did all of them have pictures that you could replicate, or how did you get?
Yeah, when you look through the book, you will find a lot of saints and blesseds that you have not met before, and we don't have any artwork for at all. So what I had to do is use my best internet searching skills and go through and look through and see what I could find from history. So sometimes you could get random photographs here and there, but a lot of them I just had to go through and search that culture, that history, that time period, and try to figure out what would have this all been like. What would their clothes look like? What would their facial features look like? And not just that, also how would they stand? What would be appropriate to this person? There's so many, but this is actually, I'll let Meg say his name. This is Paul.
Blessed Paul, Tojkia, Zia. Wait, it says it.
Yeah. It's Paul Tao
Xiang.
The clothes from his people are just so bright and beautiful. We actually, originally, we had him holding a gong, but because he would go through and bang a gong to tell people it was time to say prayers, but we went through and we sent the different artwork to different people from that background, and they said that the gong would not work because it's a Buddhist symbol and people would totally misinterpret its meaning. So we had to go through and figure out what else we could have him hold instead, and they showed pictures of the Sacred Heart, of Mary, and everything in their evangelization. So we went ahead and slipped in a Sacred Heart picture there.
So it's not a Sacred Heart gong.
It's not a Sacred Heart gong.
And then the peacock
is a bird that's common there. This is actually green peacocks are common in Laos. So
okay. Yeah, that's very cool. I think about it a lot with Jesus himself, portrayed as a white man, but he was actually Jewish, and how that looked like, what did his nose look like, what was his facial structure, and so I think that's really cool and important that you did that. How did you get into illustrating? Have you always done children's illustrations and that's what you're most comfortable with, or?
So I started going to college for art because I just wanted to teach, and I thought, well, I'm good at art, so I'll just do that. As I was taking my art classes, it just felt meaningless. I'm like, why am I going to teach people this? I don't even care that I'm doing it. So I actually switched my major to Christian ministry, and I was thinking, well, if I ever want to do art, I'll pick it up later. And I converted to Catholicism. I had a whole ton of kids. And then as I was looking for toys for them, I wanted to find saint toys, and I couldn't find anything. So I just set myself to design a style particularly that I thought would portray the saints as real, but also interesting. And I just wanted kids to be able to say, who is that? And so I started my shop selling the little blocks as toys. We're getting started. That's as much as I can do right now, but I'm trying to branch out.
I just started an Etsy shop myself not that long ago. Back in November, I do baby onesies.
Oh,
so I have like a little future saint baby onesie.
That's adorable.
I understand that need for like baby Catholic witnesses as well, like a reminder in the home, a reminder everywhere. And you did such a beautiful job with this book with Meg. Huge kudos to both of you. Is it all watercolor then?
It's watercolor and ink and computer.
Okay, sure.
But yeah. So I'm just self-taught. So just making stuff up as I go.
My sister-in-law actually went to art school also, and she ended up like it was so much about how to protect your work. And there was a big focus on that instead of like, how to cultivate and like how to like find your own style. It's like, well, here's the style you should be doing. Look to the saints, like examine what the saints are doing, and like copy what they're doing, but don't become them. Still be your own person, but still learn from them, still grow from them, and
Yeah, and that's what in the introduction it's a tearjerker, and that's what Meg says is like you're gonna find all different kinds of saints, but there's no saint just like you because God made you to be you.
Well, thanks for taking the time to talk today. It was good to just be able to sit down with you and like go through and kind of get the illustrator's perspective, because so much behind a book is what are we looking at, what are we absorbing, like you said, being able to recognize saints, get the cultural context of them. So really good job in integrating so much of that culture. We've been talking with Lindsey Sanders, who has collaborated with Meg on this book and done such a beautiful job, and now it's back to Meg. I do want to ask, you have your Brick House in the City shirt on here. Was this something that you actually collaborated with them with, or was it incidental?
I did, yeah. So I work a lot on saints who are outside of Europe and those with European roots. And so I've done a lot of work on Asian and Pacific Islander saints and Black saints and Latino saints, Middle Eastern saints, Indigenous saints. And so Lauren asked me if I would pick out saints for an Asian Saints t-shirt. And so a number of them are actually in this book. I think all of them are in one book or the other except for Joseph Tao, who's a Laotian priest. But I wore it today for our kickoff party because we've got Ronnie Maria in the book, and Lorenzo Ruiz, and Toro, and Cecilia Butzi, and so I figured it was good to dress like the intercessors who are surrounding us in all of this.
Oh, beautiful. I love it. Yay! Well, I will be sure to link the shirt below. I will put the link below for that you can order Saints Around the World. I know you're trucking 600 books. I mean, it's less than 600 now. But there is another source that people can order from, right?
So the easiest thing to do is just go to saintsaroundtheworld.com, and you'll see a big button that says buy, and that'll send you to various different places. It'll support us the best if you buy it through Lindsey's Etsy shop, or if you buy it in person when you happen to see me. But you can also get it directly from the publisher, which supports the publisher, or you can get it from Amazon. We've got people who are selling it in Canada and in Europe, and it's on its way to Australia. So all of that, if you just click the buy link at saintsaroundtheworld.com, you'll be able to find where you can get it wherever you are.
Is there another book release party you're doing? Any more upcoming that you want to let people know about?
Well, if you follow me on social media, that's probably your best bet, because I think
There we
I've
go.
got 5 or 6 already scheduled right now.
Oh, perfect.
And who knows what days they are.
Yeah, this one popped up in one of my Catholic mom groups, and I was so excited because I was like, I have to meet her. I was like fangirling. I said to my husband, I said, I really need to calm down because I'm gonna be unprofessional tomorrow. Like, I will be like, it's Meg, oh my gosh! And, like I said, unprofessional. So
This is great. I'm so glad we got a chance
yeah,
to visit.
thank you so much for coming. So this is the little one who got Veronica. Thanks to Miss Meg. Who's getting sleepy. So as I said, we've been talking with Meg Hunter-Kilmer, the Hobo for Christ, who has officially finished another one of her books, Saints Around the World. We'll put the links below and you can order it, but I just pray that is a resource that is granted to you, that God has brought into your lives today to draw you closer to Him and in turn to those around you. And we pray that you're able to make it a great day. We'll see you again soon.